Hey everybody, Pandi here of Pandi's Hair Candy and More, as well as the Simply Pandi Show. If this is your first time stopping by, welcome. If you are already chat family with me, welcome back. You already know I am super excited to see you here. Today, you all, this is another edition of Trending Recaps with Pandi. And what we typically do in these types of live streams is we just kind of chit chat and catch up and take a look at the trending and viral stories and headlines that have been going on around and about us, both in the social media realm as well as on our local news media outlets. And we will just be breaking them down, reviewing them, discussing them, and commenting about them. So, you want to go ahead and get yourself comfortable, grab yourself a snack or two or three, and your favorite beverage, because we're going to be here for a little bit. Just chitting and chatting and talking about these things, you guys. News that you can definitely use. Now, if you didn't remember to do so on your way coming in the door, please don't forget to blow dry on that like button for your girl. It greatly helps me with the way that my content is shared and distributed on this platform. Also, if you are not already subscribed, what are you waiting for? It is free 99 after all. It does not cost you a thing. Okay? Go ahead and hit that subscribe button and make sure you double tap that notification bell so that you are notified each and every time that new content is added to the channel. Also, sharing is definitely caring. So please, if you have the ability to do so, make sure you share this video out with your mama, cousin, auntie, friend, co-worker, somebody that might want to catch the replay. Shout out to the replay gang. And shout out to all Pandi's peeps. Pandi's peeps are my channel members. Special shout out goes out to you all because you all support me and give me that extra motivation to make sure that I'm keeping fresh and new content on this channel consistently. Now, if you all in the chat would like to join the channel membership, you can do so for as little as $1.99. All links are definitely found in the description box underneath this video. But again, we are getting ready to jump right off up into these trending recaps. So again, go ahead and get yourself situated and enjoy the show. Welcome, everybody. Can you guys hear me? It kicked me out. Sounds fine? Okay, awesome. Thank you. Oh my God. It literally kicked me out. I had to come back into the studio. Happy Sunday, everybody. Okay, good. You can hear me. Awesome. Welcome, everybody to Trending Topics with Pandi. I was feeling a bit under the weather yesterday, and I'm still not quite 100, but I'm here and I feel a lot better. So, I am here to talk about what I saw trending, y'all, out here in these streets, both locally, globally, and virtually. So I'm going to be sharing some news stories with you guys. You know how we do, and just getting you guys' opinion and perspective on them. So welcome to another edition of Trending Topics with Pandi. I appreciate you guys being here. Thank you, Edward. I know you said that you shared me out. And welcome to all of Pandi's peeps. I appreciate you guys. I finally got around to making a video clip too. So when people join the membership, I can celebrate you all. So thank you. If you guys didn't remember to do so on your way coming in, please don't forget to blow dry on the like button. So as you guys could see from the screen there, I have a couple different topics that I'm going to be sharing, and just stuff that was kind of trending in the headlines. I know a lot of us that are on social media spend less and less time watching TV, looking at the news. So it's always nice when you can kind of tap in, or tap back in, I should say, to reality on your social media, okay? And get your content creator perspective, give your spin on what you saw and what you thought, and just kind of dialogue. So that's what I'm going to be doing tonight, and we won't be long. I literally have my top 5 things that I saw really trending this past week, and I'm wondering if you guys seen them and what your thoughts were. Okay? So, of course, the first one that I'm going to be covering is going to be on the St. Louis school shooting. Did you guys get a chance to, I'm sure you guys probably were inundated with this all throughout your timelines, all on your news, world news, and everything like that. Let me know. And also, members, you already know, if you would like to connect, please go ahead and type in ! and the word member so that Nightbot can drop your link in the stream. That way others that are here or that catch the replay can connect with you. I'm hoping that background music is not too loud. I can never tell. I have it down really low. Hey, Jared Banks. Happy Sunday. Thank you so much for being here. So I'm going to give a quick recap on that school shooting that took place in St. Louis and see what y'all's thoughts are, because it seems like this is becoming more and more of a tragic outplay that we see coming out in the news. Hey, Wellness with Frugal Mama, happy Sunday. Thank you so much for popping in. I appreciate you guys being here. We're just chitting and chatting. I'm going to be covering some of what I saw trending outside of the virtual world in the headlines, and see what you guys' take is on it. So this first story that I'm going to share is, of course, it was on the tragic shooting in St. Louis. Now, we do know that it was reported that a gunman opened fire at a performing arts high school in St. Louis. I think it was this past Monday. And according to the news, at least 2 people, unfortunately, were killed. I believe it was a teacher and a student. Okay. And then I think 6 to 7 people were reportedly injured by the gunman, of course, before he was fatally shot while exchanging gunfire with the police. Yes, yes. It's the news can be very overwhelming, and I try not to totally immerse myself in it, but I do keep my eyes on it because I like to know what's going on. Now, according to authorities, all this chaos ensued shortly after 9 a.m. when the gunman entered this Central Visual and Performing Arts high school. Now, the St. Louis Public Schools Twitter account announced the shooter. The suspect at the time was believed to be in his 20s, was taken into custody. I believe it's being reported now that he was 19 years old and a former graduate of the school. Wow. 21 years, Jared? Wow, you are good. I can go a few days without looking at it, but then I'm so nosy, I go and look. Now, it's said that he was believed to be taken into custody at the Performing Arts School, but that the young man was later pronounced dead a short time later after, of course, exchanging gunfire with police. This is what the St. Louis Metropolitan Police Department said during an afternoon news conference. And of course, it was all over social media as well as our TVs. Now, like I said, he was pronounced dead a short time later after that exchange. And of course, it was later found out, hey, good evening, Mark Sweepson. I'm probably messing up your last name, but hello, Mark. Thank you so much for popping in. Now, at the time when I was researching this story, police had not yet released any information on any of the other injured victims or any updates on their conditions. But I do know that that teacher and that young lady were definitely victims. I believe there was a teacher from the school whose son was injured but survived because he jumped out of a window. Now, in a statement, they quoted, this was the school giving a statement to the press, the Associated Press, and it quoted, "In all that is unclear, one thing remains certain. Gun violence, especially in our schools, is a public health emergency that needs to end. The tragedy at Central Visual and Performing Arts High School marks the 40th school shooting this year. 2022 was already the year on record with the highest number of school shootings occurring in a single year. This is unconscionable and inexcusable. The epidemic of gun violence and the ensuing trauma it leaves in its wake needs to stop. This shooting came just days after another shooting in Michigan took place, which allegedly killed 4 classmates last year, and that suspect in that case pled guilty to 24 charges, including terrorism and first-degree murder. What are you guys' thoughts on this particular story? Because it doesn't seem to be getting any better. It does appear to be out of control. What are y'all's thoughts? Like, is there anything that we can do as a community, as a whole? Just what are our thoughts and what can we do as a community? I know for me, for example, my children are grown and no longer in school. However, I have 2 school-age grandchildren. So you're constantly worried. Hey, precious pieces, welcome in. Thank you so much for popping in. And please feel free, anyone, to join in the conversation. This is open. I have literally 5 trending headlines that I saw this week, and not all of them are Debbie Downers, but they're just things that, I think we should be having these conversations about. And I just would like to get y'all's perspective, and I'm sharing mine. With the gun violence, I feel like, I don't know, our hands are kind of tied behind our back because what can we really do? It pops off just almost out of the blue, or so it seems. But then when they start doing the investigations, and you start hearing the reports coming out, it's almost like there were red flags indicating that the suspect was, someone that you kind of should have been paying more closer attention to. So let's see what you guys are saying. Edward says these incidents are becoming more frequent. Right. Unfortunately. Absolutely. And Mark is saying gun violence is on the rise in the U.S. Ghost guns make it easy to buy a gun or make a gun. Oh my God. That sounds crazy and scary. I don't even want to know what it is. Just the name sounds crazy. Yeah, I'm in agreement with you all. Hey, Wellness with Frugal Mama. You all feel free to chime in. I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time on this story because it is sad, and I definitely don't want to trigger anyone that, this could be sad to or, offensive to. I'm certainly not sharing this story to offend anyone. Again, this is me just coming up with my top 5 trending topics. And for the first few days of the previous week, this was all I was seeing on every channel, and almost I saw it on all over Twitter, all over YouTube, all over Facebook. And I was just like, oh my God, not another one, because we just got finished seeing something similar in Texas, a couple months back. And it's just like, wow, they're making guns with 3D printers. Oh my God. Wow. That is very dangerous. It's very dangerous. I don't know what we can do. I know like here in my area, they have all these different programs where the police will go out into the communities and they literally are asking people to donate their guns, illegal guns. What they're trying to do, I think, is to get the illegal guns off the streets with no consequences whatsoever. And I don't know how that goes, but I do see them doing that quite a bit. And where I live here in South Carolina, the gun violence rate is extremely high in comparison to where I moved from, which was Washington State. It just wasn't happening that often. But here, it's like an everyday occurrence. So it seems like we can all agree that it's definitely on the rise. Do you all feel like there's anything that any one community can do to kind of combat this? I mean, it seems like these schools are taking all the necessary steps. They're putting in, metal detectors and, just going above and beyond. And whoever would have thought you would have to send your children to school with metal detectors all over the place? Or here's another theory I was looking at. And you just touched on it, Edward. I was just going to say, I do agree with you, Edward. It's the issue of mental illness needs to be addressed. More facilities are needed. Bingo. You worded that perfectly, and I was thinking along those same lines. It's almost like at the elementary school level, more focus needs to be taken into consideration. I don't know, with regards to mental illness and, depression and just different signs that can possibly be caught before they reach the boiling point, maybe. And maybe that can kind of curb some of this behavior, because it almost always is a former student. And it's like, was this student being bullied? Did this student have undiagnosed, untreated mental health issues? Like, what is really going on? Great points. You guys have some great points. Oh my goodness. All right. Well, let me move right along because, like I said, I do realize that is a sensitive matter, and I don't want to spend too much time on that one. Let's see. Mark says the homeless issues need to be addressed as well. Most of those folks are suffering from mental illness. I agree. I definitely agree. I agree with you there, Mark, 100%. It's really quite sad because we are, at least I always thought we were supposed to be like one of the richest nations in the world, right? But why, oh, why do our people suffer? And why, oh, why are these rates so astronomically high, especially with these school shootings? It's just crazy to me. It is absolutely crazy. So I'm going to move right along to another story that I've been following closely for the past couple of months. And that is one that involves WNBA player, Miss Brittany Griner. If I can bring it up. Miss Brittany Griner, are you all familiar with her story and her situation? Put a thumbs up in the chat if you guys are familiar with Miss Brittany Griner. Brittany Griner was the WNBA player who had been playing over in Russia, and I believe last February was incarcerated because she allegedly forgot about some paraphernalia that she had packed away in her luggage. She was apprehended there at the airport and was taken into custody. And she has recently, this past week, been sentenced. Now, I have been watching this one closely, because she's a young lady. She's a woman of color. And, she's over there in a whole nother country. And it's pretty volatile over there. It's pretty hostile over there right now. And I don't know, this one just kind of tugged at my heartstrings. So I've been following it kind of closely because there have been recent negotiations going on with various prisoner swaps. And I was really hoping that Miss Brittany Griner would have been one of them. And unfortunately, when I went to go check, since she was just recently sentenced, on the status of, her case and what was going on, and if anything had any progress had been made with regards to bringing her out. And unfortunately, like Edward says, yes, her appeal was denied last week. I was so sad to hear that. So and I forgot, I was supposed to give y'all some audio on that last story. Oh, well, I had it all prepared and queued up too, y'all. Let me see. Do I still got it up? I'm going to go on because I done already moved on from it. So let me close that out. So I'm going to just talk a little bit about Miss Brittany Griner because I have been sharing the updates for the past few months. So we do know that the Russian courts did reject Brittany Griner's appeal of her 9-year sentence for the drug smuggling charge. The WNBA star's last hope for returning home involves a prisoner exchange between the U.S. and Russia. However, legal experts and hostage negotiators told Insider Russia is too busy causing chaos to come to the table. That is allegedly, okay? Now, though the WNBA superstar's 9-year sentence was widely seen as disproportionate, the rejection was the expected outcome because there's a thumb on the scale in Russian courts. Hostage negotiation expert Jonathan Franks told Insider. Now, still, the decision all but confirmed that Griner will have to serve her term in one of Russia's infamous penal colonies, unless, of course, the White House can reach a deal with Vladimir Putin and the Kremlin. Now, many many news and media outlets are reporting that even though just last week Russia claimed that a Griner release wasn't high on their list of priorities, maximizing the return for their investment in taking her as a political prisoner absolutely is. This one is just not looking good, and I'm so sad to hear about this one, y'all. I was really, really hoping that just maybe she would have been coming home. She is not looking well. I do know that her partner has been making several pleas on her behalf, trying to get the United States to negotiate her release. And unfortunately, it's not just like something that is a decision that's made just by the U.S., unfortunately. It is said that Putin and his allies have all the leverage because they know that President Joe Biden really wants to get a deal done before midterms. Now, bringing Griner and fellow wrongfully detained American Paul Whelan home would be a massive public relations victory for him and the Democratic Party, and Putin doesn't want to hand him any easy wins. They think that they have a good window over the next week and a half if and only if Russia is motivated to do a deal. That is so scary. So her fate pretty much lies in wait at this point. See what you all are saying. Edward says, I believe the war in Ukraine is making her release more difficult. I agree. I agree that has a lot to do with it. Who is this person here in this report? Bring our home. Let me start that over. Bring our families home campaign spokesperson who helped negotiate for the freedom of American Marine veteran Trevor Reed from Russia, is skeptical that Putin is motivated to come to the bargaining table just yet. He believes that the Russians are reluctant to give up the once-in-a-lifetime opportunity for Putin to cause chaos in our country. Hey, Miss T with the T. Good evening and happy Sunday to you. Thank you so much for popping in. Just going over a few of the top 5 trending headlines that have been plaguing us, and everybody's just kind of chiming in and giving their perspective. So feel free to join in the conversation. Right now, we're talking about the WNBA player, Miss Brittany Griner, who is incarcerated over in Russia as a result of carrying a very small amount of hash. I think she had hash seeds and oil in her luggage, which, of course, was not very smart. But I don't think the young lady needs to be over there for 9 years. I mean, come on now. So I was really hoping she's been over there since last February? So almost a year. I was really hoping that when I checked back on her, because I've been following her story, and reporting on it here in the Trending Topics piece every couple of months or so. And I was really hopeful that she would be, one of the prisoners that they would try to negotiate a deal to get her released. But unfortunately, that appeal was denied last week. So, y'all, I don't know. We're going to have to keep her in prayer. Now, President Biden did say on this past Tuesday that he and White House staffers have been in constant contact with Russian authorities in an effort to reach a deal to bring the 8-time WNBA All-Star back stateside. However, American government officials maintain that they still have yet to receive a serious counteroffer out of Moscow. So that seems to be the situation, unfortunately, for Miss Griner. Just sad, 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 y'all. Now, my next story that I'm going to be sharing with you all has to do with Black Wall Street and the Tulsa Race Massacre. Who is familiar with the Black Wall Street out of Tulsa, Oklahoma? Give me a thumbs up if you all are familiar with the Tulsa Race Massacre and the Black Wall Street and what's going on current day as a result. I thought this was pretty interesting. I saw this trending and was like, whoa, what? Say what? All right, Mark is familiar. Edward, I believe, is also familiar. So moving right along into my next story, because again, I'm just dealing with the top 5. These are my top 5 picks because I saw a lot of them trending in the news this past week. So I think we're all pretty much familiar with the Black Wall Street out of Tulsa, Oklahoma. I'm going to give a little bit of the backstory, but not so much because it's not so much of the actual race massacre that has been trending. Here lately, there has been a lot of talk of officials actually going in and doing exhumations. I hope I'm saying that right. They believe that they may have found some massive graves and burial sites, and some of the living family members of those original victims are wanting to collect reparations, and they're wanting proper burials for their loved ones. So I thought this was pretty deep. I'm watching this kind of closely because this is history happening right before our eyes. And if you're not careful, it's not much talk being had about what is actually going on, but it is pretty deep, y'all. It is pretty deep. So let me share some of the headlines of what was trending on this story. So exhumations. I think it's exhumations because when you go to exhume, right? So I believe it's exhumations continue for the victims of the 1921 Tulsa Race Massacre. This is basically in an effort to identify the bodies through DNA technology. And according to the Associated Press, 19 bodies were removed from Oak Lawn Cemetery in Tulsa this past week, y'all. 14 of the bodies were actually able to undergo DNA analysis by Intermountain Forensics of Salt Lake City. Danny Helwig, a director of laboratory development for Intermountain, said on Wednesday, October 26th, that these samples are very degraded. There are samples that are very light right now on DNA, some that are semi-viable, some that are just on the threshold of being able to be tested. Oh, you didn't know about the reparations? Yeah, they've been trying to get reparations for these people for a very long time. For years, I've been hearing about these stories. And it's not really talked about until like the anniversary time rolls around, for when this situation happened. So right now, they have been going and digging and trying to find all these bodies. And it's a very gory kind of story. But at the end of the day, the living family members of the original victims are pushing for it, and I believe it was just granted legally for them to move forward. So historians have stated that as many as 300 people were killed in 2 days of violence on May 31st and June 1st back in 1921 after a black teenager was wrongfully accused of assaulting a white teenager in an elevator. A mob of racist whites attacked the city's Greenwood community, where a large number of middle class and prosperous African Americans lived. There has never been an official death toll following the massacre. So, residents and survivors and descendants alike have long searched and asked for help in finding where those killed in the terror were buried after the violence. In October of 2020, an investigation found a mass grave that was believed to hold victims. After that discovery, the city of Tulsa partnered with the University of Oklahoma to begin excavating the cemetery and exhuming the bodies, which has been ongoing now for 2 years. Now, in August, this past August, I believe, an Oklahoma judge signed an order allowing 3 known survivors of the massacre to continue their lawsuit for reparations under the state's nuisance laws, the Associated Press reported. Now, attorneys for the victims allege in the lawsuit that racial and economic disparities from the destruction of businesses and other property continue a century later. It accuses city and county officials of blocking Greenwood's efforts to rebuild after the massacre while supporting the development of Tulsa's white communities. So sadly and unfortunately, there is still a lot of racial divide going on in Tulsa, Oklahoma. But as you can see, this was trending this past week because a judge recently granted the survivors to actually pursue the reparations lawsuit. And you got this mass exhumation going on where officials are literally going and trying to literally exhume the bodies of those victims of the massacre. What are y'all's thoughts on this story? I just think it is almost too much to swallow. I think it's unfortunate what happened. And unfortunately, hey, Miss Rochelle, welcome in. Happy Sunday. So good to see you. Miss Rochelle, I wrote down everything on that list. I'm going to be trying to make that night lamp. Oh my goodness. So yeah, I hope this is not triggering to anyone, y'all. There is a new bank that opened up about 2 years ago, Greenwood Bank, and I'm still on the wait list. Killer Mike, rapper and activist, kind of headed that up, and they're opening up a new bank. It's going to be Black owned. It is FDIC insured, and it is all in remembrance for Black Wall Street. So if you're a historian, and I keep trying to tell y'all that deep down inside, I'm a nerd. Okay, I love to read. And so I've been following this story. So when I saw it trending all up in my timelines, and then I saw it on the news, I was like, well, let me look into this a little bit. And so that's how I found out that they were moving forward with exhuming these bodies and really about to start testing these remains for actual DNA on behalf of the family members and the survivors of those original victims. I just was like, wow, what a story. What a story. Racism, yeah. Doesn't seem like, these types of things don't get a lot of coverage. They don't get a lot of coverage. So I'm going to keep my eye on that. The Brittany Griner thing for sure. I really hope things turn around for her. But moving right along, because you all know I got 5 stories I'm coming with. This next story is also another sad and tragic story, y'all. Another sad and tragic story. Are you all familiar with the case of Cairo Jordan, the 5-year-old boy out of Indiana? Put a thumbs up in the stream if you guys are familiar with that story. And I promise you, my last story is going to be happy. Happy vibes. Not at all, Edward. Okay. I only learned of this story this past week. I heard something because I'm usually listening to the news in the morning as I'm getting ready for work. And my husband always says, this is why you be running late, because you be trying to watch the news. Hey, Ruthie. Good evening. Happy Sunday. Welcome in. Thank you so much for being here. You guys, I appreciate y'all being here. So let me tell you all a little bit about this story. And be forewarned, it is a little sad. But I think it's important that we talk about this kind of stuff because who even knows that it happens? And again, this is what was trending, okay, in the trending news. So this story is primarily about a mother who is actually charged in the death of her son, 5-year-old boy, found in a suitcase. And it is alleged that this mother was claiming that the child was demon possessed and that he needed an exorcism. And to make matters worse, this young lady is still at large. So there has been a warrant issued for her arrest. She was previously picked up and being held on other charges, but was released and has apparently fled. So let me give y'all the backstory on this one and see what your thoughts are on this story. This one really kind of broke my heart, you know, because I'm a mom at the end of the day and a granny. And I just was like, wow. So basically, the Indiana authorities identified the child remains discovered dead in a suitcase 6 months ago and announced the arrest of one suspect. As the search continued for a second suspect who happens to be his mother. Ooh, Edward, yes. Classic example of mental illness. I have no other choice but to agree with you on that one, Edward, because I just can't see someone doing something like this. And if you would look at the pictures, she looks normal. She doesn't look crazy or anything. She looks quite normal. So, you know, one would not expect something like that to occur. Well, let me give y'all this story and just see what y'all's thoughts are. And it is very sad. And again, this is for teaching and educational and commentary purposes so that we are aware of what's going on out and about. Okay. So the Indiana State Police detectives arrested Dawn Elaine Coleman, age 40, in San Francisco, California on October the 19th in connection with the death of a 5-year-old Cairo Amar Jordan, according to an October 26 Indiana State Police statement. Cairo's mother, I thought it was Dujane, but when I heard the officer talking about it, he actually pronounced it differently. And I'm going to play a little bit of the audio so that you guys can hear it. And then I'm going to give you guys my commentary and see what y'all's thoughts are. So it is very sad, y'all. One moment. Let me try to get it ready. Let me know if y'all can hear it. Let me pause this music.
It's a bittersweet day. Bitter because no matter what progress is made, what happens in a case, we're still dealing with the tragic death of a precious young child, and that unfortunately we can't change that. So bitter in that way, but the wheels of justice do turn, and we do make progress. And so we have information today regarding the case. Just a brief overview on this case. April 16th of this year, 2022, a young child was found deceased in a very distinctive suitcase on Holder Road in southeast Washington County, near Pekin, Indiana. Holder Road is a dead-end road. It's very isolated, not heavily traveled at all. And that was back on April 16th again. At that time, when we were first notified of the child being discovered, very little information was there for our units, our detectives, our officers to work with. There were no witnesses. There were no family members. There were no acquaintances that came forward with any type of information. An autopsy was performed shortly after that, and again, there was no signs of physical trauma that we could detect. The autopsy did not detect any signs of physical trauma that was readily available or seen. The autopsy listed the cause of death as electrolyte imbalance that caused a viral gastronitis. Again, I'm not a doctor, so I can't explain all that, but that was the cause of death listed on the autopsy. Also, at that time, toxicology reports did not reveal anything. There was nothing in the toxicology reports that would lead us to a cause of death. Our detectives were able to identify two suspects in this case, and detectives were also able to identify the deceased child. On October 14th, based on information in this investigation, the Washington County Circuit Court issued two felony arrest warrants, one for Dawn Elaine Coleman, 40, of Shreveport, Louisiana. Another for Dewan, I'm not sure about the pronunciation on this, Ludi Anderson. Dewan Ludi Anderson, 37, of Atlanta, Georgia, who is the mother of the deceased child. Those felony warrants were for neglect of a dependent resulting in death, a level 1 felony, as well as obstruction of justice, a level 6 felony. As a result of the information gathered in this investigation, Detective Matt Busick, who is the lead investigator, and Detective Chris Tucker, also from the Indiana State Police Post here in Sellersburg, traveled to California. On October 19th, so just a few days ago, Detective Busick located and arrested Dawn Coleman.
Didn't expect anything like this to happen. There was already too many people. We were just walking on the street, and I was already getting pushed and swayed. I was trying to hold my friend that passed away close to me.
Oh my God, y'all, I'm sorry. A commercial. So you all get the general gist. I turned it off because I didn't realize it had commercials in it. But you get the general gist. You kind of heard during that press conference, the authorities pretty much reiterated that they picked up one suspect and that the other suspect, Cairo's mother, Dwayne or Dejanay, I'm thinking, L. Anderson, a 37-year-old, still on the loose. And they're saying that she's wanted on charges of murder, neglect of a dependent, resulting in death and obstruction of justice. Now, allegedly, she was seen last in the Echo Park area of Los Angeles. Okay. But according to police, a resident who was actually hunting for mushrooms in the rural Washington County area discovered Cairo's body stuffed inside that suitcase. Now, the autopsy on the Atlanta child's body revealed that he died from an electrolyte imbalance, like he said. But what was very disturbing about this story to me was that CBS News reported that investigators found fingerprints of Anderson and Coleman on black plastic bags that the young boy's body was placed in within the suitcase. And per multiple news reports, as well as the probable cause affidavit, they are stating that there were some Facebook posts that the mother had made back in April following her release from jail on a shoplifting charge. And those posts were very incriminating because in them she allegedly wrote, quote, just got out of a jail mission, and yes, had to do some healing and killing. And I'm just like, what? What kind of mother would do such a, why would you make a post like that? And then she also went on to make reference to an exorcism in regards to her son and using her blood for a ritual involving him. She also reportedly mentioned a very powerful demonic force from within her son, and she also wrote about possession as well. Now, the authorities are saying that in April, days before the boy's body was found, that she is also said to have wrote she survived death attacks from her 5-year-old throughout the 5 years that he's been alive. And that was quoted from her Facebook post. She also quoted that she was able to weaken his powers through her blood, and that she has his real name, and that he is really 100 years old. So this is why I definitely do agree that there was some underlying mental health issues going on that were either unresolved or undiagnosed or untreated. But overall, this is a very sad situation. And what's really sad is this young lady is just still somewhere out here. They're looking for her. There's warrants for her arrest. She is still at large, y'all. So what are y'all's thoughts on that story? I almost feel like it's a repeat from the St. Louis school shooting. Definitely more mental health. Awareness, detection, prevention is needed early on. This young lady is 37 years old. Yeah, she may be delusional. She definitely, looking at her, you wouldn't think anything is going on, which goes to show you can never judge a book by its cover. Very, very sad. I found it very odd that no one, I'm not with people just making random calls to CPS on parents, but in certain situations, if someone is posting something on their social media about their 5-year-old, stating that they've been avoiding death or they feel like the 5-year-old is trying to kill them, I'm wondering why no one took what she was writing on a public platform serious enough to contact social services or something. You know what I'm saying? That maybe this could have been intervened and prevented. That was the first thing that came to my mind. The second thing was like, how and why? How and why? What would lead you to that point? So that was definitely all up on Twitter, all over Facebook. I also saw it on CNN and a little bit of it on ABC. So it's these crazy things that you don't even know are going on. And I found it very strange that she's still at large. Like they don't have no idea where this lady is. And she was last seen in Los Angeles, California, but the boy's body was found in Indiana, but apparently they were residing in Georgia. So she's definitely been doing a lot of traveling and moving. So I don't even know what the likelihood is of this woman actually being picked up. Now, in this last story, and coming to a close, because again, I'm just dealing with the top 5. This one is good news. If you're old school hip hop fan like me, I saw this story and I got excited. Let me find it. And I apologize, guys. It was a lot of bad news this past week with regards to trending topics. Who is familiar with salt-n-pepa? Salt-n-pepa's here and we're in effect. Want you to push it back, cooling by days and at nights, working up a sweat. Who remembers salt-n-pepa? They still look good too, y'all. They were trending. All right, Mark said he knows who salt-n-pepa is. So this is my last story, and I tried to end with the good news because, like I said, my first few stories were kind of heavy. You have the whole Brittany Griner update. Then we have the St. Louis school shooting. You had the Tulsa Black Wall Street situation. Yes, I did do a video on salt-n-pepa when they made that Lifetime movie. Oh my God, and I got a lot of views. I think I got over 1,500 views on that one, and it's even higher than that now. They are a classic act. They've been around for over 25 years, and they are trending, and for a good reason. So I'm going to tell you why. So I feel like salt-n-pepa are finally, 25 years later, y'all, finally getting ready to get their flowers. And let me tell you why they were trending. So salt-n-pepa are scheduled to be honored with a Hollywood Walk of Fame star. And the ceremony is actually scheduled to take place on November 4th. So they are finally going to get their flowers as far as Hollywood is concerned. Now, I'm sure in New York and all over the East Coast, they are reverenced. They are icons. They have been icons. I remember emulating them as a teenager. You know what I'm saying? These girls are iconic. On Tuesday, October 25th, the Hollywood Chamber of Commerce announced the news that the popular MCs would receive recognition in the recording category. So this upcoming star ceremony honoring the hip-hop pioneers, salt-n-pepa, will honor the amazing 80s music that we all love and grew up with. They will share a Walk of Fame. Shared Walk of Fame producer Anna Martinez in a press statement. She quotes, "We are placing these ladies of hip hop in royalty adjacent to Amoeba Music and right next to the Walk of Fame star of another queen of hip hop, Miss Missy Elliott. Now, the duo made up of Cheryl James Salt and Sandra Denton Peppa, who recognizably got their start back in 1985 and became widely known for their hit single, Push It. Their track became the first rap song by a female act to hit the top 40 of the Billboard Hot 100. So, like I said, they are finally scheduled to get their flowers in the form of a Hollywood Walk of Fame star. And they are going to be placed over next to Missy Elliott's star. Okay, they definitely do deserve it. This is long overdue. It has definitely been a long time coming, like Mark said. And like I said, they were like the first women in the rap industry to win a Grammy Award. Why are they just getting a Hollywood star 25 years later? Now you got the Nicki Minaj's, you got the Foxy Browns, you got the Meg the Stallions. But these two ladies were mainstream first to do it. Okay? The first rap female duo group to win a Grammy Award. So MC Lyte and Roxanne Shante are scheduled to appear as guest speakers at the event, which of course takes place on Friday, November 4th. This entire ceremony is going to be streamed live exclusively at walkoffame.com. So if you guys are interested in checking them out, if you are old school hip hop heads like me, hey, the Bud Files, welcome in. Definitely check that out. That is going to be streaming at walkoffame.com. I should have put that in here. And that is on November, is it November the 4th? Yep, November the 4th. Exclusively. It's not coming on TV. So if you are salt-n-pepa fans like me, check it out. And that concludes my top 5 trending topics that were trending over this past week. I'm going to try to come back next Sunday with some much lighter. I'm going to try to stay away from the heavy topics because I hate to be a Debbie Downer, but this particular week, those are what I saw all over the place. And I was kind of conflicted and I debated, do I really want to talk about these? But I kind of did want to talk about them because, like I said, I have been keeping up with the Brittany Griner situation. I've been following her story closely just to see what was going to happen with her. And, we've been coming here and dialoguing about it and conversing about it and just, talking amongst ourselves to kind of give our input and kind of let off some steam and see what, if anything, could be done. The school shooting situation, that is just like a global epidemic in every state, unfortunately. And I just don't know what, if anything, can be done because it's like 1, 2, 10, or 100 of us can come together to try to make a difference. But are we really making a difference? Are we even able to make a difference? I don't know. So, we have these platforms on social media. I just felt like these were things that were near and dear to me. And I do like to talk about what's going on. So I'm glad you guys were here. I really appreciate the feedback. You guys were great going back and forth and sharing your opinions. So I appreciate you guys for that. Thank you guys. Thank you, Edward. Thanks, Mark. I really appreciate it. Like I said, I'm going to try and come back each week doing a better job of my podcast style, trying to make sure I find the right slides to go with the stories that I'm reporting on, especially at times like this when I'm a little under the weather and I'm not looking the best to be coming on camera. So this was awesome. I really hope that you guys enjoyed the conversation as much as I did. And if you found the content to be on point, please make sure you leave me a comment down below. And if you have the ability and you haven't already done so, definitely share it out. Sharing is caring. This is how others will know what I'm doing over here. And I tell people all the time, there's an and more on the end of my channel name. I do more than hair. I do more than makeup. I talk about more than self-care. I do more than game nights. Like, I love talking about trending topics. The only thing that I don't really like to touch on is politics. And politics can go left if you allow it. So I kind of, I learned my lesson in my first year doing YouTube. They ate me up in the comments when I put some political stuff up here. So I kind of steer clear of that. But I will touch on these hot topics. Some may consider taboo. I will touch on them a little bit for commentary purposes. So I appreciate you guys being here. Oh yeah, let me show you guys real quick before I get out. Let me know what you guys think of this video, because what did I do with it? I've noticed that I've been growing. I have been growing, and I've been getting a lot more members. And I was like, okay, I need to update some stuff because I really want people to feel welcome and appreciated when they join my membership. So let me know what you guys think of this. What do you guys think? I was hoping that it would be just exciting enough to make someone feel appreciated for joining and for supporting, and let you know I love my members. I really get excited when you guys join. I am yet working on things to improve the channel and the perks and the benefits. And the only song or clip I had to play was the thank you for a super chat. And I was like, well, they're not really giving a super chat. They're actually joining my channel membership. So I need to make something that's kind of tailored to that. So good. You guys said it was nice. Thank you for that feedback. I was hoping so. I was so impressed with it because, listen, you're talking to someone who just learned how to edit, a year and a half, 2 years ago? So when I can come up with some videos, I get excited. I just get excited, and I'm so grateful for the support and the growth. So yeah, I can't wait until I get another member so I can play that video clip and hope that it puts a smile on that person's face. And I am working on, I'm wanting to do like a holiday party or something. I don't know. Something for the holidays. And I want to do some member giveaways, just to give back before the year ends. But with that being said, it is getting late. We have officially been here for 1 hour and 10 minutes. Again, I would like to thank you all for coming out and hanging out with me and having these conversations on tonight. I am going to bid you all farewell. I hope you all have an amazing week going forward. I will see you all in these YouTube streets. Y'all know I'm always in these YouTube streets. But I'm trying to get better and more consistent with my own content because I had to have a little sit down talk with myself. I'm like, wait a minute, I'm always at other people's lives and watching other people's lives, and then I'm too tired to go over and do my own live. So it's the whole balance of it all for me. So I appreciate you guys being here. Thank you. And you guys have a wonderful night. Peace. Thank you so much for coming through and kicking it with your girl. I hope you enjoyed the live stream. I hope you were thoroughly entertained. And if you didn't remember to do so on your way coming in, please don't forget to blow dry on that like button. And if you're not already subscribed, what are you waiting for? It is free 99 after all. It doesn't cost you anything. And don't forget to share me with a friend, family member, or on your other social media platforms. Let's help each other grow. Once again, I'm Pandi of Pandi's Hair Candy and More. Thank you so much for taking a moment to come on over and kick it with your girl. Until next time, you all stay safe out there, stay encouraged, and I will see you all in the next video. Bye-bye.